creators of Severance are hacking your brain, and you don't even know it. But they don't need futuristic tech to achieve that. Just great filmmaking. I found all my friends were asking the same thing about the show. And no, it had nothing to do with numbers or baby goats. They all wanted to know why the show makes them feel so anxious. So, I watched closely and discovered a few fascinating techniques the creators are using to make you feel like you're a Lumon employee. I'm going to discuss just some of the techniques I noticed in this video, and as a bonus, I'll talk you through one of my favorite shots from Season 1 at the end. Before we can explain what Severance creators are doing, we need to talk about a different filmmaker. This guy, the great Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick was known for inventing filmmaking techniques nobody had ever used before, so it's not surprising to see other filmmakers borrowing from him. But exactly which of his ideas have the Severance team decided to use? Well, let's head to the Overlook Hotel, and you might notice a similarity to Lumon's offices. It's also a labyrinth of corridors, but Kubrick came up with a way to use these corridors to play on his audience's psychology. He deliberately designed the Overlook Hotel so the layout of the corridors were physically impossible. For example, a character might walk in a direction that should lead to the middle of the hotel, but they end up in a room with a window. It makes no sense. Of course, you don't exactly notice that, thanks to some clever design and editing, but your subconscious does. It knows it can't map out the spaces successfully. While you're following these characters, your brain is going with them, and your sense of disorientation grows. And that's pretty scary, because as the danger increases, your mind knows it can't figure out how to escape. You're completely trapped. Of course, I can't prove the Severance creators have designed the severed floors the same way, but I would be very surprised if they hadn't. The seemingly endless corridors sure feel like they make no sense, and I'll bet this is why. And it's not even the only technique they've borrowed from Kubrick. This is also a classic Kubrick framing style. He loved shots that were symmetrical, and these keep popping up in Severance. But if you're thinking it's just because it looks good, you're wrong. There's a psychological element to shots like this. Because they're pretty unnatural, you won't often find a space that feels like this in real life. Why the Severance creators love this technique is up for debate, but if you ask me, it's to reinforce Lumon's strict rules and order of operation. It removes the character's ability to move freely or rebel. Very often, the only way they can move physically is forward, and that's exactly how Lumon wants it. No freedom of movement and no freedom of thought, just moving straight down the corridor. But when they're not framing shots so they're symmetrical, they're often framed like this, and this, and this. In fact, there are loads of them. See the similarity between the shots? They all place the character's face close to the edge of the frame. This is a classic framing technique that can be used in several ways. This can be used for lots of reasons, but in Severance, you can bet it's being used to make characters feel trapped. And you along with them. They're boxed in against the frame almost all the time, so it feels like there's nowhere to go. But not all filmmaking techniques in the show are about trapping and controlling the characters. One of my favorites is about something else entirely. The offices on the severed floor have one main quality. They're pretty blank. There's almost nothing there. It's mainly empty space and white walls. There's a word for all this blank space in a shot. In filmmaking terms, it's called dead space. Normally, it's frowned upon. Filmmakers will tell you that everything in the frame should tell the audience something, so big areas of dead space often show that the people in charge didn't put enough thought into a shot. But that's not what's happening here. The Severance creators are breaking the rules for a genius reason. If you ask me, all the dead space in the Lumon offices represent the blank spaces in the characters' heads. And let's face it, there are lots of it. Their memories, knowledge of their own lives, and what they're actually doing as a job, what Lumon's up to. It's all blank. And the creators of the show are using these blank walls and empty spaces to give us a heightened sense of what it must feel like to be in the minds of our heroes. If you notice any interesting techniques like these that I didn't cover, share them in the comments. But I couldn't make this video without talking about one of my favorite shots in the whole show. Even though it's a shot probably nobody noticed, the shot of Irving at home is unassuming, but brilliant. Why? Well, when have you ever seen a hanging lamp that low? That's no accident. It forms a straight line of light with the kitchen unit lighting, but Irving's head is in darkness. This very unusual lighting setup is clearly symbolic. It shows that Irving is in the dark, metaphorically. All enlightenment is just below the surface of his understanding. This is enhanced because of his relationship with Bert, a light in his life. He's depressed in this world because he doesn't know about the joy he's found in his other life. It could also have a deeper meaning that hasn't even been revealed yet. And there's also the show's classic use of dead space to the left again. But this time, does it represent the knowledge he's missing, or the person? I can't wait to see what Season 2 brings. This is a new kind of video for me, so if you liked it and want more, please subscribe and let me know. And if you need anything to watch while you wait for the next episode of Severance, check out these seriously underrated movies on Tubi.